The opening numbers at the stock market. Martha Vincent joins us live from the Ayala trading floor. Martha?
Hi, TJ. Well, the market is now back at the 4,000 level, and this is mostly due to the gains in PLDT. Right now, the PSE index up by almost 100 points, or 2.5% at 40.07. And as mentioned, this is mostly due to the gains in PLDT. Earlier, there was a trading halt on PLDT, given, of course, the developments. It's a takeover bid for Digital that was announced yesterday, and because of that, there was an hour-long trading halt on stock. But it opened at around 10 a.m., and right now it's at 2,320. Or 292 pesos per share, and its ADRs overnight actually in about 5.3% or $2.48. So we're seeing a lot of gains there from PLDT, and it is single-handedly actually moving the PSEI in this back to the 4,000 level. Now we have on the line James Sullivan, head of Asia Telecom Research at JPM Singapore, to talk to us more about the PLDT digital deal. Good morning, Mr. Sullivan.
Hi, good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, I'm sure you've been covering PLDT for quite a while now. Did you expect their move to take over Digital?
We certainly didn't have it in our forecast, and I'm not sure that anybody did. I think the obvious conclusion, though, is that this is extremely positive for the industry as a whole, as it drastically improves the industry structure. Digital has been the key price aggressor over the course of the last 4 to 5 years. And so from our view, PLDT isn't necessarily buying Digital, but they're very clearly buying a significantly improved industry structure.
Okay, and what exactly do you see in terms of benefits? How would this be beneficial both for PLDT and Digital?
So there's very clear benefits for PLDT in that Digital has been obviously instrumental in launching a lot of the unlimited text as well as unlimited voice products in the Philippine market. To the degree that they're taken out a bit as a price aggressor, then we should see firmer pricing across the board, which is positive for both revenue growth and margins for PLDT. For Digital, I think we'll see an immediate step change function in terms of the margin structure of that company as they leverage a lot of PLDT's in-house systems. You'll also see a drastic reduction in interconnect payments paid from Digital to PLDT on a consolidated basis. So really a vastly improved margin structure for both companies moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Do you have ballpark figures in terms of the margin improvements that you're looking at for both companies?
Right now, we're looking at up to a 17 percentage point margin improvement at the Digital level, and we think it's entirely realistic to assume that you have a 300 to 500 basis point margin improvement at the PLDT Smart level. On our calculations, PLDT can completely pay for this transaction with a 350 basis point increase in its own wireless margins. And so again, some people have suggested that this is a very expensive transaction for PLDT because of the implied valuation for Digital. I think that's wrong for two reasons. One, PLDT makes Digital a significantly more profitable company through its ownership interest. And two, PLDT's bigger benefit is actually obtained by the margin improvement that they should see in their core business.
That would have been my next question. I mean, some are saying that the 3 pesos centavo per share swap price is a steep price to be paid, and you're negating that.
No, again, I think the focus needs to be on the impact that this has on PLDT's core business rather than on the implied purchase price on a per Digital share, because the impact to PLDT is clearly more felt through the potential wireless margin expansion within Smart itself.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of Globe Telecom, what does this mean for that company?
Globe is put into an interesting position. On the one hand, again, the industry structure has become far more stable, which is positive for all industry participants. And one could argue that this deal is actually quite positive for Globe because they get all the benefits of the improved industry structure without having to pay the price. The longer-term question is, will we see any significant changes or shifts in Globe's strategy? They have lost market share for the last couple of years. Management's been very clear in terms of their desire to win back some of that market share, but they're now facing a PLDT which is more dominant than perhaps it's ever been. So that the road ahead for Globe, I think, is a bit difficult, which is the primary reason why we've maintained the neutral recommendation on Globe versus the upgrade to overweight for PLDT.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, the recommendation now is an overweight for PLDT versus...
We upgraded both stocks one step over in a report that we published overnight. We upgraded PLDT to overweight from neutral, and we upgraded Globe to neutral from underweight.
Okay. And what are the short and long-term returns to the deal? I know you've mentioned in terms of margin improvements, but what else are you looking at? Short-term, long-term returns for...
The other important aspect of this transaction from a PLDT perspective is the potential CapEx savings that they can achieve moving forward. We had actually downgraded PLDT shares in January on the argument that we'd have to see a very significant increase in CapEx. Management then actually guided to that increase in CapEx at the time of the fourth quarter results. Management was very clear in their conference call with investors yesterday that directionally we were likely to see a reduction in CapEx spent at the PLDT level because of the Digital transaction, although they weren't willing to commit to a level. And so I think the CapEx saving is another key issue to focus on, which will clearly affect the free cash flow of PLDT moving forward.
And so generally in terms of the telco landscape here in the Philippines, what are the prospects, especially of course given the mature outlook for the wireless business?
Sure. I think this transaction forces us to recognize that the industry structure has significantly improved through the acquisition of Digital. The longer-term concerns that we have for the sector, however, remain, which is a significant margin compression that can occur over the course of the next 5 years, as we basically replace very high margin SMS revenue with lower margin wireless data revenue. That outlook hasn't changed, but I think we do have to recognize that on the medium-term basis, the industry structure has improved through the Digital transaction.
Okay, and on that note, we'd like to thank you, Mr. James Sullivan, Head of Asia Telecom Research at JPM in Singapore. Thank you for your time this morning, sir.
Thank you very much.
And to give you an update on the market, the PSE index now up by 101 points or 2.6% at 40.08. Again, mostly on the gains in PLDT. Telephone's share price up a whopping 14% or 288 pesos to 2,324 pesos per share. Let's also just check on the other companies involved in this deal. JG Summit is 2.65% or 65 centavos last year at 25 pesos and 15 centavos per share. But it's not the same for its unit Digital, or at least it's now down 14.75% or 27 centavos last trade at 1 peso and 56 centavos per share. Now guys, you see one of the issues that we've been hearing traders talk about is the tender offer price for the remaining Digital shares. PLDT said that they will offer to pay 1 peso and 60 centavos per share. And according to some of the traders here, this does not sit well with some of the investors, especially those who bought Digital shares last Monday at a price higher than, of course, 160. And so we're seeing some selling in the share price of Digital right now. It's mentioned down by 14.75%, and that makes it also the market's loser as of this time. Telephone, on the other hand, being the top gainer right now. And at the foreign market, the peso opened at 43.50 from its close yesterday at 40.46. And as of 10:11 this morning, it has reached a weighted average of 43.29 on a volume of trades worth $294 million. And that was the latest from the Ayala trading floor. Back to you guys in the studio.